This is not just a story about space. It is a story about ambition, imagination, and the unconquerable human spirit. So buckle up as we go through the journey of history, humor, and the untold tale of Zambia's space program. I'm your host, Tembinkosi Vusindlovu. What if I told you that Mark Shuttleworth was not the first one to ever dream of going to space? That Elon Musk's vision of going to Mars had infected someone long before he was born? This is a story of Edward Makuka Nkoloso, the Zambian visionary who dared to dream beyond the Earth's atmosphere. Let's unravel the almost forgotten legend of Zambia's space program. Our journey takes us to Zambia back in the 1960s. While the world was still focused in a space battle between United States and the Soviet Union, a guy named Nkoloso had a different dream, a dream of an African space program that will put Zambia at the forefront of the cosmic exploration. Well, his ambition was grand, his methods were unconventional, and his legacy unforgettable.
In the 1960s, while the world watched USA and USSR battle for space supremacy, a Zambian school teacher and a self-proclaimed space commander, Edward Makuka Nkoloso, had a vision. His vision was to launch Zambia to the moon and Mars before the superpowers could. With a team of young astronauts, which he later named Afronauts, a homemade rocket. 1960 was a decade of many things: technological improvements, social unrest, so many breakthroughs. We're going to start with the 21st of March in 1960. We're going to go to a location called Sharpeville in South Africa, where a peaceful protest against the apartheid laws turned into a massacre. 69 lives were lost. Thousands injured, in the spark that will fuel resistance for years to come. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, the music world was about to be flipped on its head. The Beatles, fresh from Liverpool, released their first song, Love Me Through. Back in South Africa, Nelson Mandela, the man who would eventually lead his country to freedom, was already making waves. In 1960s, Mandela banned his passport in protest, a symbolic act of defiance against the apartheid system.
Do you see Africans being able to develop in this country without the European being pushed out?
Fast forward to Rivonia trials. In 1963, Mandela and his comrades were arrested and put on a trial at Rivonia, and they were charged with sabotage. Their crime: they dared to fight equality in a process.
This is 1961. A Soviet Air Force pilot, Yuri Gagarin, became the first human to blast into space. And not
to Earth 1961, Yuri Gagarin, the first human to journey into the outer space, became a symbol of Soviet achievement and the global ambition.
We choose to go to the moon.
John F. Kennedy, in 1961, he made a speech that will live in history. Kennedy's dream was contagious and so on. The whole world was focused on one question: would humanity really land on the moon?
I have a dream.
Back in the
One
United
day,
States, another dream was taking place. Dr.
this
Martin Luther
nation
King
will
delivered
rise
his
up,
famous "I Have a Dream" speech.
live
on
out the
steps
true meaning of
the
its
Lincoln.
creed.
It was one that sparked the fire in the hearts of millions. A world of unity, justice, and equality. Meanwhile, across Africa, a new nation was emerging. On October the 24th, 1964, Zambia gained its independence from Britain. It was a day of celebration, hope, and new beginning. The people of Zambia had fought long and hard for their freedom, and now, as an independent nation, they had a chance to build the future on their own terms. But not all was peaceful in the fight for justice. On February the 21st, 1965, Malcolm X was tragically assassinated while speaking on the crowd in New York. The untold story of Edward Muguka Ngoloso, Zambia's forgotten space dream. In the heart of post-colonial Africa, where the winds of change were sweeping across nations, one man dared to dream beyond the sky. This is the extraordinary story of Edward Muguka Ngoloso, a man with a vision to boldly rival the ambitions of global superpowers. At the height of space race in the 1960s, while the United States and the Soviet Union were competing for cosmic dominance, Ngoloso had an audacious goal to send Zambians to the moon and Mars. But was he a madman, a visionary, or simply a misunderstood genius? Well, this is his story. Born in the northern Rhodesia, which is now known as Zambia, Edward Ngoloso was more than just a dreamer. He was a freedom fighter, an educator, and a patriot. Having served in World War II, he returned home with a strong sense of nationalism and an even stronger belief in the potential of his people. After Zambia had gained independence in 1964, Ngoloso saw an opportunity to put his country on the map, not through war, not through politics, but through space exploration. Ngoloso established the Zambia National Academy of Science, Space Research and Philosophy. It was there that he gathered a small but dedicated team of astronauts, including a 17-year-old girl named Martha Mwamba and 2 cats who were meant to accompany her on a mission to Mars. Their training was unconventional, to say the least, rolling down the hills in oil drums to simulate weightlessness, swinging from trees to mimic zero gravity, and leaping off a makeshift platform to practice moon landings. Despite lacking government support, funding, or actual rocket technology, Ngoloso remained undeterred. He wrote letters to UNESCO and the Zambian government seeking sponsorship for his space program. He even warned foreign nations not to interfere with his Mars mission. Word of Ngoloso's ambitious space program spread like wildfire. International journalists flocked to Zambia to document this bizarre yet fascinating endeavor. Reports from the Times of London and Life magazine painted Ngoloso as an eccentric yet
site, and my rocket is just here.
And what is the name of your organization?
The name of my organization is National Academy of Science, Space Research and Astronautical Research.
And what position do you hold in the organization?
I am the Director General of Science, Space Research and Philosophy.
And when will you fire off your first rocket, and where will you send it to?
I will fight from Lusaka, and it will go straight to the moon. It depends upon how much money I got. If I got enough funds, it would be
Edward Ngoloso's vision of launching Zambia into the space race was met with skepticism, and it wasn't just the global ridicule that grounded his ambition. The funding was non-existent. The newly independent Zambian government focused on nation building because they didn't even have electricity and other infrastructure. They had many challenges, so they did not have resources to pour into his moon mission. Without official backing, Ngoloso relied on volunteers and unconventional training methods. Then came the loss of key members. His star astronaut, a teenage girl named Martha Mwamba, left the program after becoming pregnant. Other trainees abandoned the mission, either due to external pressures or the realization that their lunar dreams were far from becoming reality. And finally, the world had moved on The USA landed on the moon in 1969. That was Neil Armstrong, and cementing its victory in the space race. Ngoloso's program faded into obscurity, and it was dismissed a little more than just a bizarre footnote in history. Was the Zambian space program a failure? Or was it a sign that even the boldest dreams can inspire generations to think beyond their limits? African nations are now investing in science, technology, and space programs. So maybe, well, just maybe, the stars still have a place for Africa.
Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them. Because they change things. They push the human race forward. While some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.